And welcome back to Crash Media Paranormal Conversations with Crash. I'm Craig.
And I'm Ashley.
And tonight we're going to talk about cursed art. So stay tuned.
That's okay.
And we are back. And of course, my title card doesn't work because it will not be Crash without a crash. So
That's right.
So Ashley, how was your week?
It was good. How was yours?
Awesome. It was great. Mine was great.
Yeah.
It's almost exam time, so no kids.
Mhm.
But I sort of sprung one on Ashley today in that I wanted to talk about cursed art, and so this is one that I put together instead of Miss Ashley, who is the main writer. So this one is mine, and so she's coming in here very, very fresh. As far as she doesn't even know what I'm talking about tonight. So everything is going to be a surprise. But
Yeah.
that's great because some of the things that we are going to talk about tonight are things that I really want to, I want a fresh opinion on, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Yeah.
And so talking about cursed art, what do you know of cursed art, first off?
Well, give me just a second. I'm trying to get the chat pulled up.
Okay.
And here we go. Give me just a second. You might hear it for a
Yeah,
second.
that's not a problem.
Okay, I've got it pulled up.
All
Jeremy
right.
says hello.
Hey, Jeremy, hope everything is okay with you.
Um, so yeah, for you know, for cursed art, I guess, it's cursed objects. Like that's always been a big thing. There's
Yeah,
museums full
yeah.
of cursed objects.
And that's your
And
thing. Your
so
thing is cursed objects.
yeah, and so that's that's something that there's a lot of theory and belief that objects can be cursed or have entity like attachments to
Right.
it. And so if I think of cursed art, I would think of it the same way I would like a cursed object.
Yeah, 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 absolutely. And because technically it's just someone, well, someone created most cursed objects, but art is something that is you already know is something a little near and dear to me because I am an artist. So we're going to do some shameless plugs here and I'm going to show a little bit of my art. As far as I know, my art is not cursed, but let's take a look and see what we have here. This is one of my pieces. This is called The Love, and it is colored pencil on actually yellowish paper, and it's 28 by 36, so they're very large.
Mhm,
But this is one of my pieces, one of my favorite. Of course, it's from The Lion King, my favorite musical. I
mhm.
am a little bit of a musical fan, so I love that.
I don't
Next,
think I've seen that one before.
it
Is that one at your house?
yeah, it's hanging in the foyer.
Oh, okay. I guess I haven't seen that one. I've seen a lot of yours. I don't know if I've seen that one.
Yeah, I have to show you next time you're over.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Thank you, thank you. The next one is one of my favorite, who's actually a really good friend of mine, who posed for it. Also, this one is 24 by 36 and quite large and color pencil. So they're highly detailed. Um, they take several months.
Mhm,
Basically, I taught myself how to draw when I was walking. When I was a little kid, taught myself how to use colored pencils, and then taught myself how to oil paint. So this is my favorite oil painting, which you've
mhm.
seen this one.
Oh, yeah, I love that one, and you can't even seeing it through YouTube, it doesn't even give it justice. This one, I mean, all of yours, but this one especially, it has so much detail, like, in the pattern and everything, and the textures, I love it.
Yeah, it's definitely one of my favorites I've ever done.
Yeah.
And again, this one took about 4 or 5 months, but Ashley and I are both photographers. So I was shooting for a magazine in Atlanta, and we had about four models and several designers. So the models would change and we would shoot them. And so this is a girl that I shot in Atlanta, never got her name. I shot her with a camera, not a rifle. But but I never got her name, so I named the piece Mod, from
Mhm.
like the '60s mod fashion craze.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit of a art geek. So um,
Yeah. Well, like you said, okay, so an artist puts so much of themselves and
Right.
their just soul into their work.
Yeah.
And so, it a lot of times people like you get homes that, have like the spirits attached to the homes and
Right.
everything. And if you really think about it, we as artists do put so much of ourselves into our art, it would make sense why some spirits, that's what you would be
Hmm.
attached to.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
I don't know if I would even call it like cursed art. I would call it, just like, haunted art
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
these the ones that you're right. Like everything. If I look at one of my pieces, I can tell you. I can't do anything in silence. Everything has to have background noise. I have to have TV, something on, an audio book or radio or something. So I can look at every piece and tell you exactly what I was watching or exactly what was going on in the background during that part of that
Mhm.
piece. And like for example, the girl's dress, a lot of that was I Love Lucy because I just watched an I Love Lucy marathon. So
Mhm.
every time I look at the dress, I think of I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Um, I did one as a kid, and every time I looked at the shoes, I could see Wizard of Oz because that happened to be playing on TV at the time. So you
Yeah.
do put a lot of yourself into anything that you're creating. So
Mhm.
tonight we are going to talk about three very famous cursed paintings. And so we're going to start tonight with The Anguished Man. Let's see, one second. Okay, those are mine. All right, so let's start with The Anguished Man. So take a look
Mhm.
at this piece, and I just want your reactions.
So my reaction?
Uh huh.
Um, yeah, I mean, honestly, going I don't know if it's maybe the title or just the image itself, but I mean, to me, it kind of portrays like some pain and
Hmm.
almost like, a man crying out.
Okay, okay. Well, let's talk about the history of this painting. It is called The Anguished Man, and it is from a YouTuber or someone who uploaded a YouTube in 2010. His name is Sean Robinson, and it's an oil painting that he claims has been in the family for almost 30 years, and it was kept in his grandmother's attic. Now, the grandmother claimed that it was evil and would never bring it down from the attic, and he inherited this painting and brought it down from the attic and said as soon as he did, all kinds of activity started happening in his house. His wife was terrified. He was terrified. So he claimed it was evil also. Now,
Mhm.
the legend is the artist, who I don't think was ever named, committed suicide shortly after painting it, and it's said that he used his own blood mixed with the oils. All right, so that's a little creepy in and of itself. But since he has inherited it, the family claims to see the figure of a man, and the grandmother said that she had seen that figure too. So they've heard strange noise, they've heard crying, and he has since posted several updates to his original posting about the painting.
Mhm.
In 2011, he posted several videos reporting to show paranormal activity around the painting. Then he posted another short update video in 2016, and in 2017 posted the latest video where he says it was too dangerous to bring out of storage ever again. So let's take a look at a couple of those videos that we have from his YouTube channel. So this are not ours. These do belong to him. So in this first one, he is showing the painting and showing, the fact that it does look like it's pretty old. The white blotches that you see around his shoulders and everything, that is the paint worn off. So
Mhm.
take a look at this, and there's no audio to this, so just take All right. So, what are your thoughts on that video?
Well, I couldn't hear the video,
Right.
but
There's no audio in it.
okay.
Yeah.
Um, you know, if they're having activity that they can, for sure, like attribute to the painting, that's
Mhm.
one thing. But I feel like sometimes people who maybe even don't appreciate art on a certain level, they would look at that and think, because it does look, especially maybe the colors that's used and the position like of the mouth, it would, they might think they say things are evil, whatever, just because it makes them uncomfortable.
Okay.
Whereas it might not mean, any, I don't know, like I'm gonna use something as an example real quick
Okay.
if I can find the picture. I did a self portrait one year, and okay, here it is. I did a self portrait, and to me, the meaning of it was more about a tree. I was sitting in my office. There was a tree outside, and it was winter, so there was no leaves on it. It was just a bare tree. And I thought how beautiful it was, just kind of like reaching, the branches looked like it was reaching up.
Mhm.
So I was like, I'm going to make a self portrait of the tree. So I used myself. So to me, I felt like it was beautiful
Mhm.
because it represented the tree and vulnerability and Mother Nature and all that. And but I posted it online and someone says, "Oh, that looks evil." And so and here it is, if I can hold this up to show you. One
Ah!
second. Play. It's not
Actually,
there.
I like that. That's pretty cool.
I'm trying to make it where it goes in focus.
Uh-huh.
Let me actually, it's not gonna let me focus it on here. Anyway, so it says people were saying, "Oh, that looks evil. That, I don't like that." And so it's all about how so anyway, someone could say it's evil and cursed and all that simply because it makes them uncomfortable
Yeah.
and they don't understand it. Whereas maybe the intentions never were to
Right.
be anything like that.
Yeah.
Maybe it was someone expressing just that emotion they had in them. Now the fact that he maybe used his blood in the paint, that's a little bit
I mean, who
different. That makes
doesn't?
it a little more
I
eerie,
mean, like, who
but
doesn't? I mean, that's the only way to
yeah.
get a vibrant red, you
Yeah.
know? But
I mean,
so what you're
honestly,
yeah.
that could be kind of like normal, like especially in the past, they use different things to increase like pigment and stuff
Right.
like in paint. I've used rocks, I've used
Yeah.
dirt,
Right.
clay, and stuff like that to even make colors. And so, you
Yeah.
know,
So what you're
I don't know.
saying in a way also is that art is subjective, so
Yeah.
evil is subjective, possibly. Now, with that in mind, let's take a look at some of the evidence that he has collected. Now,
Okay.
these some of these do have audio, so let's take a look at this one. Now, this okay. What he did is he set the painting up. Bless you. Set the
Sorry.
painting up and recorded it for 2 days or for 2 nights for like 48 hours. And these are the things that he caught. Now, the first thing is scratches. So let's see what you think about the scratches. Okay. And I forgot that our audience can hear, but we can't hear.
Yeah.
So these are scratches. Now,
So Jeremy, since you if you're still in watching it and you were able to hear the
mhm,
video, let us know what you think of that, because I
yeah,
haven't actually heard the audio of it. But I will say this, a lot of times people attribute scratching to demonic. Like,
right.
people will say, "Oh, if you hear scratching, that's demonic." And a lot of times it ends up being rats in the wall or something like that. Or
Mhm,
just paranormal, not evil at all.
yeah.
And so you also got to think, if he's doing stuff like that on YouTube, could it be for clout or something, And it,
Well, let me tell you what I hear, and this is my personal opinion, just mine, no
Mhm.
one else's. Here's what I hear.
So like breathing
Yeah,
into,
I hear breath. I don't hear scratching. I hear I hear
Yeah.
someone blowing into a microphone, but that's just because I've been playing with audio a lot, and that's to
Mhm.
me, that's what it here that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
All right, now I'm not saying that's what it is because I wasn't there, but I've got to be a little bit of a skeptic.
Yeah.
It's part of my
Well,
job.
to me, okay, so that just looking at it, it looks like a very emotional painting. Like it
Oh
looks
yeah, oh
like,
yeah, absolutely.
whoever did that, let's say if they when they passed or whatever, and that was a very dark time in their life or just
Hmm.
a very expressive time in their life, or even a healing time in their life,
Yeah,
they could have some attachment to that piece,
yeah,
that there could be activity involved around it, as with any like haunted object.
right.
But uh I don't know, I just feel like if they're trying to really make it out to be like these evil things happening around this painting, like what makes them think it's evil?
Right.
It could be just paranormal.
Yeah, exactly. Well, let's take a look at video number 3. All right. This is self-explanatory. The door closes. So tell me what you think about this one. I don't believe there's audio in this one. All right. So what did you think about that?
Okay, as someone who is just heavily involved in the paranormal, I know also how rare it is to capture something on video, to have your camera pointed in the right direction at the right time or whatever. It's, to me, sometimes I have a hard time believing certain video. Has he had an actual team come out and investigate and they've documented it, or is he just filming it? And I don't know. I'm a little skeptical when it comes to stuff like that people post.
Yeah, and something that I observed is out of all of the videos, this is the only one that shows the door.
So it's like, they
Uh,
have it the right angle, the right time, and all this, and it's
yeah,
like
yeah, it's a
almost
little.
seems a little staged. And something like that is very easily faked.
Yeah, that's.
A door
Yeah,
closing or whatever, and I don't know. It's tough to
it's
know. I
tough.
mean,
It's tough.
it'd
All
be
right,
cool to perform an actual investigation to be
right.
able to, you know, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, let's take a look at the next thing that they got, and I believe that we won't be able to hear that either. But it is some bangs. So when you look back at this video later, what I should have done is send you all of these earlier, but I didn't want to. Plus, we've both been ripping and roaring all day. So,
Yeah.
so here's the next one. Audience, our viewers, yeah, definitely send some comments. Let us know what you think. All right,
Mhm.
here we go. All right, so that is pretty self-explanatory. It's some bangs that happen off camera.
Mhm.
Again, we don't know the situation where it was set up, any control measures that were set up along with it. So just take it with whatever grain of salt you would like to.
Yeah.
And
I
I.
mean, if it's someone who truly believes that, like, the painting could be haunted,
Mhm,
then, what I would do is have an investigator, some come out there and actually perform an investigation around the painting to
mhm.
see there's nothing, like, evil about that to me if it is paranormal, and it could be just someone, if it is someone attached to the painting, just telling people, "Hey, take care of my painting,"
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Um, but I don't know, it's so hard to tell with stuff like that, but, um, I don't know.
And of course, we're not here to, to like make fun of or say, oh, this is horrible, anything like that. This, to me, this is very, very cool. Now,
Hmm.
let's look at one more piece of evidence that we have from his videos and tell me what you think about this one. All right. What did you think about that one?
So I am looking at it very, I want, okay, I think that's faked. I'm gonna be honest, I think that's faked.
It did look
To be
like someone
innocent.
waving a cigarette underneath.
Yeah.
That's what it looked to me. Now,
And so the thing is they like we said, it's so hard to catch something on video. Look what
yeah,
all we do and how rare it is to catch something on video.
yeah, yeah,
How would
true.
he know to set it up exactly there and to have that happen?
Right, exactly. And
Mhm.
there's more. He's got more videos out there. Definitely go and check them out. It's pretty interesting. Now, I will tell you that this has never been properly examined. He will not
Mhm.
bring it out for investigators. There's only one time that it has been seen outside of the original videos, and that was in 2013 for an event at Chillingham Castle, where a group performed a seance with the painting and claimed that a tall, dark entity appeared in the room. But other than that one night in 2013, no one has ever seen it um, outside of him and his home, and no investigators have been there. And just as a little side note, the screen rights to the painting's story was sold in 2016. So there could be an upcoming movie about the painting. Now,
Mhm.
again, the painting is pretty cool. So
Yeah,
there's
I
definitely
agree.
dread when you look at this painting.
Yeah. But especially if they are working towards a movie and stuff and he will not let people investigate it
Hmm.
properly. Yeah, that throws up some red flags to me because if he was truly concerned, he would have a team come out and actually perform an investigation. But if he refuses to let it be investigated, except for when it's kind of benefiting him, like, with a movie or like an event or something like that, that's a little bit sketch. I don't know. I don't know this
Right,
person.
right.
To me, I would look at that like, yeah, that's I mean, and look at Annabelle and things like that. Yes, things have been documented like happen and stuff like that, but the movie, if you watch the movie, there's dramatized and like all this kind of stuff, like exaggerated.
Yeah.
And so I feel like maybe he's trying to portray it that way when it's not, but he's doing it so for exposure.
Yeah, yeah. It's possible. It's possible. It's
Yeah.
possible. All right, our next painting is very famous, especially in England and all over the UK, but it is The Crying Boy.
Oh, that's cute.
Do you know anything about The Crying Boy?
I do not.
Okay. So, in September of 1985, a British tabloid ran the following paper: Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy. Picture is a fire jinx. So, what happened is an artist, a Spanish artist by the name of Giovanni Bragolini. I can't even speak Italian today. Even though
Mhm.
he's Spanish, he took on the moniker of Giovanni Bragolini, and it is a pseudonym for the artist himself, Bruno Amadio, also known as Franco Seville. So he had several names, and he actually painted several um, crying boy and crying girl paintings.
Mhm.
So after this incident, all of his paintings were said to be cursed, but especially the crying boy. the following picture was taken after the fire that the paper was reporting on, and everything burned except for this painting. So this painting was miraculously saved without a scorch mark, without a scratch, and the legend was that so this happened in 1985, and a British tabloid is one that ran the headline of "Blazing Curse of the Crying Boy." But the story describes a South Yorkshire family whose home was destroyed by a fire, which they blamed on a cursed painting of a crying boy. Now, the homeowner's firefighter brother, the brother of the homeowner is a firefighter, claimed that he saw many fires where only the crying boy painting survived. So the article, basically promoted hundreds of readers to report similar experiences with the paintings. So the tabloid ran it, and then all of a sudden everybody jumps on the bandwagon, and they actually had a bonfire for people to bring out their paintings, and because these prints were sold all over England and all over Europe. So they would get the prints, so they're not like the original oil paintings, they're prints. And they sold like 50,000 prints, I believe, were sold across the UK, and everybody was bringing them out and burning them. So basically like a mass painting burning. And
that's kind of a shame.
yeah, exactly. So the brother, who was a firefighter, had previously warned the family to remove the painting. So that's the story of the crying boy. They sent a flyer out to their readers for destruction, leading to a massive bonfire on October 31st, 1985. All right. But yeah, so looking back at the thing that gets me about the painting is that he did so many of them. And when you look at just his subject matter, it's a little creepy that they're all little kids and they're all like destitute and crying, and they're all sad paintings. Like every single one of them is sad. And so I think this may be a case of the subject matter itself leading into, legend.
Yeah, and again, something like that could be unsettling for people to, you look at art, it makes you feel things, it makes you feel emotions and stuff, and look at that, it might make you sad or whatever, and people start associating like negative things about that. I mean, how many fires does it say? How many houses burned with these paintings?
It doesn't say how many burned, but they do know that 50,000 prints sold all across the UK, and the artist died in 1981. So
okay, if an overwhelming amount of houses with these paintings had the same fate of burning and then the painting surviving, there might be a little bit more to say, hey, it's too much of a coincidence. But it doesn't take much for people to grab their pitchforks and form a mob. And the same thing kind of like with this. One fire could have happened, one painting survived, and all of a sudden they look at something that might, make them a little uneasy, and they're like, "Oh, it's cursed. We've got to burn them all." So I don't know much about or anything about like the artist. So like, what was his motivation for painting these?
Right.
One, was he a sad child? Did he see something in these sad children and hoping to, I don't know, does he see that, oh, this could be popular, so I'm just going to paint it, make money from it? What was his motivation for it? And then, could he be attached, his spirit be attached to these paintings? But what would make him want to go and burn these houses? It's
and I don't think the artist probably made a lot of money from it, as far as like all of a sudden the paintings got popular. They were already popular, but then everybody's like, "Well, I'm going to show them. I'm going to buy." Either that, or he went destitute because everybody was burning them. You never know.
Yeah.
But either way, they say no press is bad press. So
Yeah.
yeah,
People are superstitious. They get carried away with certain things, and so the fact that so many people got scared of these paintings and decided to go burn them,
mhm.
it probably didn't take much for that, to
Yeah,
happen. I
yeah,
think it's cool that the painting survived the
yeah,
first
yeah,
fire,
yeah,
but
yeah.
then people burned it. So, but I mean, can art be haunted? I think out of any object, art would be have the more reason to be haunted.
Right, right.
But I feel like some people are kind of trying to you know like the first guy, the
Yeah,
YouTube person could be using it just to try to get YouTube famous or something. Then these other ones, people are saying that these are haunted or they're cursed or whatever, just because people get scared,
yeah,
grab their
yeah.
pitchforks, and but yeah, I don't
Right.
know.
So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it is, and I've heard because I am a child of the '80s, so I've actually heard about that painting like since I was a kid. So I've heard
Hmm.
about that for years and years. So when I look at that painting, that's one of those paintings that the second I see it, I know exactly what it is.
Yeah,
you know.
I think the show Supernatural. I think they did an episode kind of based on
Oh,
this.
cool. Oh, very
Yeah.
cool. Very cool. Now, we're going to talk about our final painting of the night. And it is one of my absolute favorites because, well, I'll just let you see for yourself. All right. So this is called The Hands Resist Him. The Hands Resist Him. And it was painted by a surrealist artist named William Stoneham or William Stoneham. And it was painted in 1972. And the name actually comes from a poem that his first wife wrote. And it's a representation of himself at 5 years old. And I happened to find the poem and the picture that he used
Oh.
as sort of like a template.
Mhm.
So um, he is of the seeing visions. His strokes reveal them in a rush of color, of madness, of mystics. And his head in the highest center, it must confront the enemy. The hands resist him, like the secret of his birth. His presence is the sanctum heartbeat, felt in the darkness and in passion. It sounds the sole gift of that silence. So that was written by his first wife, and this is the painting that he used. Now, in the painting itself, he represented himself at 5 years old, and that was a neighbor girl, a girl that lived close to him, and he represented her as a doll. And if you look in the windows, there's a lot of hands reaching out to them from the darkness. So it is a very, very eerie painting.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's pretty eerie.
It really is. It really
Um,
is. Now,
yeah, that's kind of dark.
yeah. So here's the story. Here's what happened. This is a pure eBay driven haunted curse painting. So it started at an eBay auction in 2000, in the year 2000, which became one of the very first viral eBay auctions in internet history. So the anonymous lister, the person that was selling this, caught international attention because he claimed that this painting may or may not possess supernatural powers that could impact or change your life, and that is a quote from the eBay listing.
Hmm.
Now, the seller claims that he found the painting in an abandoned brewery and he brought it home to hang in their daughter's room. And they claim to have been very puzzled when they found it as to why such a perfectly fine painting with no smudges, no marks, was discarded in a rundown old brewery like that. So, but then he picked it up and said, "Hey, this would go great in my daughter's room."
Hmm. Yeah.
so, so that's a
I
that's
mean,
a
yeah, I wouldn't want that in my daughter's room.
right, right, right.
But I mean, honestly, just um the looking at it, like, to me, out of anything, like, that one would creep me out the most.
Right.
Um, Especially the way that he painted the little girl to be like doll-like,
Uh-huh.
but then like the hands and everything, to me it reminds me of like just some really dark suppressed like childhood trauma. But the poem itself too, that's kind of like almost it's very spiritual
Yeah.
and so to me it seems like that has a lot more um significance when it comes to some potential there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what all activity and evidence they've gathered
Well,
surrounding that,
right.
but
Well, here's what they claimed. Okay, so the event started, and I quote, "One morning, our 4.5-year-old daughter claimed that the children in the picture were fighting and coming into the room during the night." So that is a direct quote from the seller on eBay. And so they said they set up a motion triggered camera and claimed that in the camera light, the doll in the painting seems to be holding a gun on the boy. So here is the detail of what they say looks like a gun, which I don't know what that is. It's almost like a spray bottle and then the windowsill, but the way she's
yeah,
holding it, yeah, the
it
way
doesn't
she's
look
holding
like
it,
a gun.
yeah, from far off.
That close up of her mouth is definitely creepy.
Oh yeah,
I
the
don't
creep
know
factor is there.
I
The
don't know what she's holding, but it's definitely like the wooden, like, pane part of the window behind her that's kinda man, those hands. Um, yeah, I don't know what she's holding, but she's not holding a gun,
Yeah.
but that's I mean, children coming out of a painting and, like, fighting and stuff like that, I don't know, maybe let's just okay, I'm gonna play devil's advocate and just assume that like this okay what these people are claiming is true
Mhm.
and just going trusting their word on everything. Let's say maybe the child who experienced seeing that or whatever who it was that saw it, um maybe they have some kind of psychic ability or medium their medium or whatever and they're
Mhm.
seeing bits and pieces of the artist's childhood of him like playing and play fighting like with that girl, maybe something like that. I don't see the subjects coming out of the painting
Yeah.
and fighting, but maybe she see the kid whoever saw it is seeing some kind of supernatural like psychic
Yeah. You never know. Now,
things
here's
like that.
what
I don't know.
now here's more claims. Now, the people viewing the listing, like going to eBay and seeing this listed for auction, claim to have odd reactions such as falling violently ill or fainting, and children began to scream, and others found themselves gripped by an unseen entity just by viewing the. So, if any of our viewers are having these reactions, please let us know in the comments.
Mhm,
If you
yeah.
get violently ill by watching this painting, please do us a very big favor and please let us know if you throw up, if your children are screaming.
I'll show
But
it to my kids when they get home.
yeah,
No,
exactly. Yeah, show it to them
honestly,
and tell me what happens. Now,
looking at that though, I out of all of the other ones, that's the one that I almost feel a little more drawn to in
yeah.
a paranormal way. Like that to me,
Well,
that one is not so like okay, the anguished man
yeah.
is very in your face, like this is pain and dark and like all this. This is a little more like subtle, as in like uh there's some true darkness there. Like
Mhm.
it's I don't know, like that to me that's disturbing in a very, like I said, like trauma and a childhood trauma way
Yeah.
that one's got more feelings and some darkness to
Yeah,
it.
and as someone who dabbles in art myself, the composition of the piece does sort of lend to that unsettledness as far
Yeah.
as everything is over to one side.
Mhm.
Like both of the subjects, they're not centered, they're off to the side. Then you've got
Mhm.
the actual focal point of the painting, dead center is a bunch of hands reaching through a window.
Yeah.
And, so that definitely adds to the creep factor. Now, would I have this hang in my house? Abso-freaking-lutely, I love this painting. I
I
had
was saying that I don't know, that one creeps me out a little bit. I don't know if I could have that one.
but it's one of those that since I first saw it, it's like I just watch it. You know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
something about it is very good. Now, this is interesting. Within a month of the auction, it rocketed. The price rocketed from an initial bid. I can't even speak tonight. An initial bid of $199 to a final price of $1,050 in just 30 days.
Mm,
Now, in 2000, the year 2000, that was quite a jump, but now we
mhm.
have like used napkins for like 15,000 on eBay. So, but this was in the very early days of eBay. So that was a major price jump from $199 to over $1,000 in just 30 days. So,
Yeah, and it
um,
could be haunted collectors, or it
yeah,
could just be people
well,
who
it
really
was
see
right.
the beauty in that art.
It was bought by a gallery owner who sent the art. The artist had no idea that this was even up for sale.
Mhm.
It
Was
had
he
been
still
bought.
alive?
Yeah, he's still alive,
Okay.
and he sold all of. Okay, a man came in and literally bought all of his paintings, and this just happened to find its way to eBay. So it was bought by a gallery owner who still owns it. So
Mhm.
the person that won the bid on eBay is still the owner of the painting. Now she contacted the original artist, and he was like flabbergasted. He's like, "What?
Mhm.
So this no, this is like me when I was 5." And now the artist has several since then has painted several paintings based off of it. So um, he has a website, and let's see. So he has a website, and this I did take this directly from his website. So he has done several sequels to the painting. So you see the original, and then you have a painting called Resistance at the Threshold. And in this one, they're both older. They're matured, and
Equally
she,
terrifying.
yeah, and the hands are protruding a little bit more.
Ooh,
But it's
that
this,
ooh,
yeah,
creepy. And he
right.
had to throw in some wasp,
Yeah. There's Wasp and other, but this was painted in 2004, so this is 4 years after the sale of the original.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Oh yes, it's a wonderful painting. It's absolutely amazing, but I can definitely see the surrealism, and I
Mhm,
am a very big fan of surrealist art. Even though everything that I paint is very realistic, I love
mhm,
surrealism, and I would love to dabble in that when I actually have time
mhm.
to paint. Now, the third painting in his series was painted in 2012, and it is The Threshold of Revelation. Now, in this one, the girl is fully human. So
Mhm,
you notice she's still carrying the mask, but she's fully human, and he's getting older. And again, you've got a lot of surrealistic
mhm.
representations here. But this was painted in 2012, right? And the next one in the series is The Hands Invent Him. Now, there's a very interesting story about this painting. If you look, it's a painter, that's him,
Mhm,
and he's behind the glass. It's daylight instead of darkness, but those are the two figures.
mhm.
And guess who commissioned this painting and has it hanging in his haunted museum?
Zach Bagans.
Zach Bagans. Yeah, Zach Bagans commissioned and bought the painting, and it now hangs in his haunted museum.
Ah,
So that's interesting.
and he probably tells everyone there's demons attached to it.
Well, yeah, that's possible. Yeah, we're not Zach bashing, but yeah,
No.
he has been known to stretch the truth a little bit. All right, and the latest painting is from 2021, and it is entitled "What Remains,"
Ooh,
which this is the same place but deteriorated, and it's there.
I'm surprised that looks like one Zach would probably
Yeah,
want.
exactly.
Um, yeah, that's, I love the progression of them
Yeah.
though, and he
Oh God,
kept
yeah.
them, like almost like a story. I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And please go to his website and take a look at some of his work. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Um, Haunted or not, this dude is incredible. So haunted or not, but this is the website, stonehamstudios.com
Mhm.
slash haunted for this particular page, but just go to stonehamstudios.com and take a look at some of his other work. I'll definitely give him a shout out because his work is amazing.
Yeah,
And
it really is.
as a painter myself, I would love to have the freedom and the ability to just sit down and paint stuff like this. It would,
Yeah.
and just, haunted or not, it has haunted me a little bit to where I might dabble in a little bit of surrealism coming up.
Yeah. Um, and you think about it too, like if the claim of people like seeing the children come out of that painting and fighting and everything, the painting itself is very creepy.
Hmm.
It kind of sticks with you.
Right.
It very well could be somebody had a nightmare about it. It's
Yeah.
hanging
Yeah.
in the room. You go to
Right.
sleep. Last thing you see, you can have a nightmare
Hmm.
about it and think that it's
Yeah.
that's actually happening and stuff. So is that are those things haunted?
Well,
I
yeah.
don't know, but they're definitely haunting,
Now,
or it's a subject matter.
the artist does have a couple of claims, but it is on Zach Bagans' painting. Now, the artist says that strange things happened during the painting's creation, that his studio was invaded by rats, and odd substances emerged from the floor as he was painting the tiles in the image. And the Hands Invent Him, which is the name of this one, is of course at the Haunted Museum in Las Vegas. And the original painting, which is The Hands Resist Him, has inspired a documentary, a
Mhm,
novel, and possibly an upcoming movie.
mhm.
So this is another one where, there may be a movie attached to it coming soon, but this is also one of those where the artist himself had nothing to do with its fame. You know, it
Yeah,
was
like, that I could see more why a movie would be made out
Mhm.
of those,
Right.
um, and, yeah.
Mhm.
I do wanna mention, and this is not about these particular paintings, but just about haunted, like, art and stuff in
Mhm.
general, but, like, I don't know if we okay, so we did a private investigation, and this was a museum.
Mhm.
You'll know what I'm talking about here in a second,
Okay.
but I don't think we can actually say, like, where it was and who the artist was and all that, but it was a very famous
Oh,
writer,
yeah, 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 yeah.
an artist,
Oh,
and at this museum, they had like temporarily they had one of the wife's
yeah.
paintings
Right.
on display, and then it was going to go back to a museum, a different museum. But we did an EVP session. I think it was Heather, Laura, and I. We did an EVP session in front of the painting, and we got voices
Yeah, I remember that.
there, and they said that when that painting came there is when certain activities, like they had activity like already like there at the place, but so when they got that painting there on display, more activity started to take place. So it's like it
Yeah.
brought something else in there. And we did an EVP session. We got some evidence, but also if you think of it, and I'm gonna try to say this in a very sensitive way because I don't, I, you, we're not allowed to like say the details
Mhm.
about it.
Right.
But the person who painted this did endure
A
some
lot.
like yes,
Mhm.
and pregnancy losses,
Mhm.
things like that. In the painting it was like flowers and it was very like I don't know, not it was kind of like realism but almost like I feel like um oh, well, let me say this too. So this person, they were in a psychiatric
Yeah.
hospital,
Yeah.
and you can tell they had lots of her art on display and you could see the progression of how, as they would do the electric shock therapy and stuff, lobotomies or whatever they're called.
Yeah.
um you could see the progression of her art and the more um just even the way she would draw an animal, it was very realistic,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then it changed to almost like very childlike, and
as she
so
got older.
you could see like what they were doing to her brain, these treatments. It was,
Mm.
but her she continued making art, but the painting, we felt like was very much about her pregnancy losses, and it was right before I think they started to fry her brain pretty
Yeah.
much. And so that painting there had so that was such an emotional time in her life, and that particular painting being, about her children, and we could almost see like the amount of flowers in it and the
Yeah.
way that some flowers had opened, some were still closed. It represented each child she had and also had lost, and and if you think about it, that things like that, there's no doubt in my mind that things like that could definitely have these attachments and be considered
Mhm.
haunted or cursed objects.
Right,
And so,
right. Because you put so much into a piece of art.
yeah.
I haven't painted in about a year, and I have one painting that is sitting unfinished, and it literally needs about 5 hours of work, and it's done. So
Mhm.
hopefully this summer, it can be. I've actually been pouring my artistic endeavors into what we're doing here,
Yeah.
and another project that I do for school. And but when you're a creative, you are
Mhm.
a creative, and I'm a creative, and that's why we mesh so well together. Is we're both creatives,
Mhm.
so there's this drive to create.
Mhm.
You've got to be creating something, and that may change. Photography, art, video editing, anything that you're able to just pour yourself into
Mhm.
creatively
Yes.
is like that's our release. And
Yeah.
our creativity, because we got to know each other on ghost hunts, and we realized that, hey, we need to be working together because, we both have that same vision.
Mhm.
And you can definitely understand what I mean by that. So
Oh, yeah. Mhm.
now, this is going to segue into the next and last thing that we're going to talk about tonight is that we do have another creative endeavor that we're working on right now called what? 1 minute ghost stories. So we started these as YouTube shorts and also on TikTok, and of course, when we do one, we post them on all of our socials. But at the end of our podcast, we're going to be trying to do one of these a week. So we will debut them at the end of our podcast and then upload them to YouTube Shorts. So if you
Mhm.
have not seen them, we have 5 out. If you have not seen them, go to YouTube Shorts and take a look at them and leave comments. Give us a like if you like it, and
Mhm.
give us some comments. Tell us what you think, and also tell us some 1 minute ghost stories that you would like us to tell, or tell us some of your 1 minute ghost stories. We're going to be
Mhm.
posting on TikTok. Stitch this with your 1 minute ghost story. We want to hear from our viewers and people in the paranormal community, people that are just love the paranormal community. Tell us some stories. But here
Yeah.
is our latest um, 1 minute ghost story.
Welcome to Crash Media Paranormal, where today we visit Yazoo City, Mississippi, where the legend of the Witch's Grave has captivated locals for over a century. Nestled in the historic Glenwood Cemetery lies a grave bound by chains that tells a tale of revenge from beyond the grave. They say an old woman, once caught torturing fishermen on the Yazoo River, cursed the town as she met her fate by quicksand in the murky swamps. Her vow? To return in 20 years and set the city ablaze. And so, 20 years later, on May 25, 1904, a fire of unknown origin consumed over 300 buildings, leaving the entire town in ashes. Some whisper it was the witch's doing. The very next day, the chains that had been placed around her grave were found shattered. Today, the gravestone, which replaced the original, lies in two pieces, broken under mysterious circumstances. And though the chains are mended time and time again, they inexplicably fall apart. Is it the witch warning us of her impending return? The chains may hold the answer, but for how long?
All right. So that was our latest about. I want to go there. I want to go to Yazoo City in Mississippi. I've got to go there
Yeah.
now. Just doing the
We need to
research on
do
that.
an episode
Oh
there.
yeah, that would be amazing. Oh, let's do it. Let's do it.
Yeah.
We shall do that.
Yeah.
All right. So, my fellow creative, I
Mhm.
hope you have an amazing week, and everybody out there, I hope y'all have an amazing week, and we will see you in a week. And of course, we do have a very, very good episode on the way.
It's gonna be so
It's going to be
good.
so good. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. But leave us a comment if you have any questions. If you have any comments, crashmediaparanormal@gmail.com. And we will see you all in about a week.
Yep.
See you later, Ashley.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos or want to be a part of our live investigations, hit the subscribe button. Also, if you have any ideas for future investigations or want to share your own paranormal encounters, please feel free to leave a comment or send an email to crashmediaparanormal@gmail.com.